Alright, so today is December 28th, last Monday of 2015. So next time I talk to you guys will be 2016. Alright, so we got two questions in. First one from Elizabeth. I'm an affiliate marketer. How do I go about split testing? I usually just do SEO for my sites, Elizabeth, and I have people who do the conversion side, kind of like partners, but I mean, you just kind of track, like when you, for example, I do a lot of e-cig stuff, right? And some of the top brands are V2 Cigs, Green Smoke, and VaporFi, right? So what we would do is we would just kind of give each of those a top spot for a little bit and just see how they convert. Like, because you can see it, when you're an affiliate, a lot of those tracking programs have like, how many clicks you sent, how many visitors, then how much you made per sale, and all that type of information. So once you gather that information, you can even do like a week at a time. You just kind of switch out different products and see which converts the best. So you can kind of split test that way. I'm sure there's many other things you can do, but that's the most basic thing you can do is kind of switch out products, see how they convert, and from there. All right, when powering up Web 2.0 social with PBNs, does it matter if the Web 2.0 site is follow or no follow? I mean, yeah, it matters, but at the same time, I don't worry about it. Because, you're still building trust when you're sending PBNs to it, and that's kind of the main reason that I do that. So, I mean, I don't really worry about it, but I also can't say it doesn't matter, because it does matter. A do follow will help you more, like in movement, but I think as far as trust goes, it should be around the same, and that's kind of the main reason that I power up those Web 2.0 and socials. And also, when you're powering up, they can also rank themselves, so that's another reason I do it. So I don't really worry too much if they're a follow or no follow, but at the same time, I can't say that it doesn't matter if they're one or the other, because that wouldn't necessarily be true. All right, good. We got tons of questions coming in now. All right, I've got a testimonials page for happy customers. Does this throw people off? My bounce rate has gotten higher since I've added this page to my site. Page for happy customers. It shouldn't throw people off. I mean, I wouldn't think so. It could just be the time of the year, Elizabeth. A lot of people spent their money on Christmas stuff and all that. So it could have something to do with that if you're a bouncer, but I wouldn't necessarily see a testimonials page throwing people off. Unless it's, it kind of looks cheap and fake. But other than that, I wouldn't see it throwing it off. I'm not a conversion specialist. I do SEO mostly, but as I set up different money sites, is it important to make them look like I'm different people on each one? Not necessarily. What's more important is just footprints, like, different IPs, and, if they're on the same IPs, don't use the same PBNs to them, and stuff like that. But as far as looking like a different person, I wouldn't necessarily say that's important. Although, sometimes I do, just to be extra safe, I guess. But, I mean, I don't think that's something that's really going to get you in trouble. When setting up My City SEO site, can we use our home address, or do we have to get a virtual office? Can we set up a Google My Business account from a home address? I've done it, Bruce. Yeah, you can do that. I mean, really, you're running your business out of your home. So, yeah, I mean, you can definitely do that. But you can also get a virtual office, but no problem with using your home address. Just remember, you can only use your address once, to make sure, you're using it for what you want to use it for. How to prevent page over-optimization? Well, for anchor text, you got to see Sink or Swim too, Robert. Make sure you watch that video. If you're talking about on-page optimization, just don't repeat keywords too much, especially longer keywords. The longer the keyword is, remember Google's probability based. So, I've used this example. If you got weight loss versus how to lose weight for women over 40, years old. And this is, of course, kind of a ridiculous example. It's a very long tail keyword, but it actually probably gets traffic. But if you have this versus this is for on page, if you have this in 5% of your content, you're going to be over optimized. Whereas if you have this in 5%, you're probably going to be okay. Well, you have a much better chance of being okay, I should say. And the reason is this is much more likely to be used 5% of the time than this is. If this is used 5% of the time, the article is going to read horrible. I mean, it's going to sound horrible. People are going to get tired of reading this over and over and over again. Whereas weight loss is such a big and often used keyword that it can be used a lot higher percent. So, when I have a long keyword like this or anything close, I'll use it maybe twice, usually just once. And then, stuff like this, I don't worry about it too much if I'm using it many times, as long as as long as it doesn't sound repetitive, as long as it kind of sounds natural. For example, I was doing one for, protein the other day. It's like a site where I'm going to be selling protein stuff, protein affiliate stuff. And I think I mentioned protein on the, article maybe 15 times, in like a 700-word article. And I'm not worried about that at all because, protein's such a big word. Now, I still wouldn't mention protein like 40 times in an article like that because that's just too much. So you just got to kind of consider what's natural. Just like you're talking natural, like you wouldn't want to say, protein is blah, blah, blah. Also, when you drink protein, blah, 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 blah. You can say when you drink it. People know you're talking about protein. So just make sure that the content sounds natural. You don't repeat any keywords too often. And then just consider how long the keyword is. For how much you can repeat it. Again, anything like this, just have once in your content to be safe. So that's a very long keyword. You mentioned that having the same theme as a footprint, and I agree. What about having the same plugin on all my websites, like Sparrow Spanker, iTheme Security, and Link Juice Keeper in the future? Will that cause a footprint? Google can track plugins. It could, yeah. I try to throw in different themes for them. But you can also use... You can also use Hide My WP. It's in Code Canyon. And that will basically hide all your WordPress files. It's $23, and you can use it on all your stuff. And then that way your WordPress plugins will not be able to be found. So you can use this. It's what I started using. Now, even when I wasn't using this, I had no problems with, with a lot of sites having the same plugin. So I'm not sure if they even track it. But just in case, if you want to be extra safe, you can use this plugin here. It's called Hide My WP, again, $23. It's ends up being like 25 with a fee. And you can use it on all your sites. It's actually for security, but, it can also be used for the footprint though. I've watched your Web 2.0 videos. What anchor text do you use when you link from them? And also, for the Tier 2 Web 2.0s linking to your Tier 1 Web 2.0s, treat everything like a money site, Mark. That's my rule now. So, same rules as you would with a PBN. Anything that goes in the Sink or Swim 2 video, that's what I use for my anything else as well. Not just PBNs and money site, but everything else. And, when I'm linking to my Web 2.0s and socials and stuff, I also use a lot of so if I'm linking to a Facebook, right? So let's say a Twitter, and it's twitter.com/ let's say LLC protein, right? Which is a name of a protein. It's not really, but let's just say it is. So I'll link to it with stuff Twitter profile, LLC protein, Twitter page, LLC protein, check out. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just kind of mixing in a lot of Twitter stuff. Not too much, but mixing in that. And then, I'll mix in keywords, protein review. If that's one of my keywords I'm going after. So I use a lot of branded to the actual social or Web 2.0 stuff, Twitter profile, Twitter page, of course, brand name plus Twitter, plus, kind of brand plus brand on the Twitter plus the Twitter brand. And then I'll mix in actual keywords as well. So, I treat it just like a money site. I have a client who's been stuck on page 2 for quite some time. All the metrics on the site are better than the ones in front of him, and the on-page seems fine. I think the anchor text is over-optimized. I'm adding PBN links, but it hasn't helped yet. I was thinking a press release might help, but I wasn't sure. Do you think this is a good idea? I've been testing with them, Chris. I actually did a wave of press releases on test sites about a month ago. I haven't seen anything yet, but it doesn't surprise me because links are just taking a lot longer to kick in now. So I'll know probably in the coming month or two if they seem to be helping. But I do have a whole wave of them that I just did, and we'll see what they do. But I don't think it will hurt you, Chris. It's just getting branded anchor text out there. I wouldn't expect it to hurt you at all. Good. Now we got tons of questions coming in, so that's good. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my Zoom here. Gets stuck sometimes. There we go. All right, what happened to Calcast.com? Why did it get the index? This was a long time ago, probably 2 years ago now, where it was a footprint issue with PBNs. We were using SEO hosting at the time. This is why we now use regular hosting. I believe that was what happened with Calcast. I think it was that footprint. It was one of the footprints that we go over in our members area. I think we were using SEO hosting, and back then it was fine because you just had to have different IPs. But then they started tracking at a hosting level, so they could see that all the links are coming from the same host. Doesn't matter if they're on the same IP or not, or if they're on different IPs, it's coming from the same host. So that's how Calcast got the index. But you'll notice if you go to Calcast still makes money. If you go to Calcast, you'll see that it redirects to this. So this site is actually making money still. It's a more advanced trick. I don't know if it's worth teaching. Basically, because I don't want people to start confusing things. But what we're doing is we're redirecting the Calcast site to a subdomain of this site. Okay, and then we have the same content on this page as we do the Calcast. Every single page on here. And then what you do is you 301 the sub to the main page with a canonical URL. Again, it's kind of advanced, but it's something we're experimenting with still. Maybe we'll release it later. But for anyone that's technical, that's kind of what we're doing. Calcast still makes money. The site probably makes 4 figures a month still, low 4 figures. And I haven't touched it in years, so. I'm trying to rank my city SEO. My inner page is starting to rank, but my home page is not ranking for the same term. Why? They probably like the optimization of your inner page better, Nicholas. When checking a domain on intodns.com, what do I need to look at? It depends what you're checking it for, Rodham. I don't know what you're checking for. In terms of the affiliate offers in OMG, how should I be using them? Should I build one site per offer, or should I try to sell various products in the same niche with emails? I do both, Elizabeth. I have some sites that are just dedicated to one product, and I have some sites that are dedicated to multiple products, kind of like a review site. Then I have some like health sites that have a lot of health products on them. So I have all different things. I wouldn't say there's a right or wrong way to go. I don't know why my screen is doing this. All right, I've been on an expired domain, but at the end of the auction, the time was extended. Has this happened to you before? Yeah, for GoDaddy, when it's in the last 5 minutes, if someone outbids you, with a minute left, then it will reset to 5 minutes. The reason they do that is so someone can't just come in and steal it with 5 seconds left. They'll reset it to 5 minutes or so and then, let it count down again. When using PBNs on Tier 2, is it important to keep the PBNs on separate hosting companies, registrars? What about Tier 3? I don't know, Bill. I've never, tried to blow myself up doing that. I just do it. I do keep them on separate hosting. I'm not as careful as with money sites, so I'm sure I've done it by accident. And I don't think I've had any trouble with it, but I treat them the same way as money sites. Can you verify multiple websites in Google Webmaster Tools with one Gmail account? I would not, Bruce. Don't do that, because if any site in that account gets hit with like a spam penalty especially, it can affect every other site in your account. I know a guy in OMG who he had like a whole bunch of sites in his Webmaster account, and he had an affiliate site that was doing like 30 grand a month profit. And one of this other sites in his Google Webmaster Tools account got hit, so not his site was making money, but then sometime later, every site in his account got hit, including the one that was making 30 grand a month. So I would recommend, if you're using Webmaster Tools, just have one per Gmail account. I watch your video ranking videos. Your P90X video seems to be off the surface now. Do you still create and rank videos? Do you do other techniques to rank these videos these days? I use more PBN type stuff now, Craig. I haven't checked for that P90X video in at least a couple years. I know there was a video, which I did, man, I'll have to see what the date is on this. It's actually a big list. Yeah, it's still a big video listing for Philadelphia boiler repair. Let me see when this video was made. Yeah, so this video was made May 2nd, 2013. So 2.5 years ago, over 2.5 years ago, and that's still number one. So, I mean, it all depends. Some videos will fall out, some won't. Depends what you used back then. But nowadays, I try to use more PBN type stuff to rank. I'm not saying you can't rank them still, with spammy type stuff, but nowadays I use more PBN type stuff to rank them. But yeah, that P90X video is probably 2-3 years old as well. So I get a new screenshot here. I've been building most of my links to the home page, but want to rank some inner pages higher. If my inner page is keyword plus bad credit, would it be okay if I still use a money keyword for this inner page? The inner page URL is keywordquote.com/keyword bad credit. Just don't want to over-optimize my anchor text since the keyword's in the URL twice. Can I hit it with one exact match anchor? I haven't seen any yet. Haven't sent any yet. Also, when sending links to an inner URL, do I take into consideration the anchor text sent to the home page, or should the inner URL anchors be treated completely separate? You should be fine sending a keyword right away, Mike. Should be. Depends on the rest of your optimization. I would say you probably will be fine because the way Google looks at it, they can't really determine over-optimization off one link. Because, the chances of someone sending a keyword anchor text just one time to a page is high. Anyone could send that. So I would say you should be okay doing that, but then be careful after that. So when sending links to an inner URL, I treat each page differently for the most part, Mike, but also know that what you send to the home page will affect your inner pages. So if you're sending stuff about bad credit to the home page, it's going to help this inner page rank better for bad credit because it's kind of theming your site. All right, if I have two affiliate sites in the same niche where I use similar affiliate offers, is this a footprint if I send the same PBNs to them even with different articles? Although lots of affiliates promote these offers, my affiliate idea would be the same, which is what I worry about in the terms of footprint. It could be a footprint. I would say that you probably wouldn't get caught for that, Drew, but you probably don't want to take that risk. You can use something like Bitly or something like that to at least cover up your, so you don't have a direct affiliate offer. There's a lot of different things you can do to cover up affiliate links. But you can do like a Bitly URL shortener, and then you have like HTTP www.affiliatelink.com, and shorten it. And here's your Bitly, right? So you would copy that, use it for one site, then go and put even if you put the same link in again, it's going to give you a different shortener. Okay? It's going to give you a different shortener. I'm pretty sure it does. That's going to be the same one. Or what you could do is use bit.ly for one, then use a different shortener for another, if it's giving you the same link like that. So you can go to Google, link shortening sites. You can use Google. You can use, here's a list of a list of link shorteners. So you can use all this type of stuff. And there's other tools like plugins you can use. TinyURL, Al.ly is a big one. So you can use all this type of stuff to help with that footprint of having the same affiliate link on there. As far as having the same PBNs pointing to, just different sites, make sure the money sites are on different IPs. And it could still be a footprint. I won't say it couldn't, but chances are they will not find that. I mean, that's just the fact that they would try to look into that is very slim, I think. They have much bigger fish to fry than that. They have different ways of tracking footprints than that. So I would say that would never get you in trouble, but I don't want to say it couldn't ever get you in trouble because it could be a footprint. Is video creation the quickest way to drive traffic? I mean, I don't know if it's the quickest, but it is a quick way, I would say. Definitely. What press release services do you recommend? I would have to go and see which ones I use for them. I use a few different ones. So, I'll have to see the results and see what happens. People mentioned to check Majestic historical links on Moz. Is it called Just Discover? I'm not sure what it's called on Moz, Verdum. I've never really looked into that. I use Moz for different stuff than on Majestic. I've gotten a few PBNs this past week and I want to start to work on them. They are not relevant to my niche. How can I make it relevant and what are your best practices? I don't worry about if they're relevant or not, Rodham. I make them relevant with content. All right. And we got tons of questions today, so let's go. Guys, I'm going to run to the bathroom for 1 minute. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that, guys. Tons of coffee and water this morning. This thing is driving me nuts. All right, whatever. All right, watch the webinar September 14th, PBN safety webinar on supremacy main page. I'm interested to get Social Explosion plugin. The Social Explosion techniques still work for increasing demand authority. Is it safe? It works, but it's not super powerful. I also went to the PBN booster technique, and I got a 404 not found. That's because we don't use that anymore, Rodham. What is the best approach to duplicate content penalty? Get new content that's not duplicate content. I mean, that's the easiest way to do it. I know that you've answered this before, but it still confuses me. I'm going a directory site. The URL structure will be domain.com/city/suburb. Do I need to worry about duplicate content on the lowest level pages? For example, does each suburb page need unique content? If it's local, you still don't, Ben. Not saying they can't change that, but you can use the same content and change out city name, location, which I believe Cotton still does on his site. If we used our home address for My City SEO and then move, how would it affect the listing? I would talk to Stephen Floyd or Cotton or Fletch about that, or Joe Marfaglio. They all do local a lot more than I do. So they're much more up to date on like local type stuff like that. So they'd give you a much better answer than I could. All right, I have good restaurants in mind. What are good strategies for keywords? For example, burgers, wraps, breakfast, happy hour. Is that too long? I mean, I would say it depends on what type of restaurant it is. Restaurants in city, stuff like that. I would guess. Best restaurants in city, stuff like that. I'm guessing. Best burger in city. It depends on the restaurant, I would say. In videos from last year, you recommend Social Explosion. Do you still recommend using it? I still do, Susanna. Yeah, I mean, you don't need it, but I would say it is going to help you a little bit. I checked an auction domain. The metrics look okay. However, on archive.org, I found out that between April and September of 2015, the link has a 302 redirect. Is that a bad signal? Not always. I'll still get sites like that. It doesn't mean it's bad. Could be, but I mean, it doesn't mean it is. Not sure I'm having so much problem zooming lately. All right, regarding Hide My WP, would you use it on your PBNs and money sites or just PBNs? You might as well use it on both. I mean, if you buy it, it's for security, so I mean, at the very least, it's going to help make you more secure. All right, Sandy check. The sequence of events should be set up a money site with reasonable content, set up videos and other Web 2.0 properties which point to the site, set up PBNs to point to the Web 2.0 properties, blend the keywords into the anchor text. Yes, that's pretty good step-by-step there, Bruce. If all of my money sites have privacy and all my PBNs have privacy, does that count as a footprint? What do you think about changing the contact information on GoDaddy to a persona name instead of making it private? You can do that. Has anyone done that, and where are the risks? Yes, Stephen Floyd does that, and he has no problem with it. I'm not sure the risk. They could change something down the road, I'm sure. But even if you're mixing in other type of links, it doesn't really matter, because then you're going to have links that have public information for them. Like if you're mixing in regular type stuff like press releases or guest postings, blog comments, social, Web 2.0. If you're mixing in other types of links, then you're going to have stuff that doesn't have privacy on it anyway. So now if you're doing all PBNs, then now I have all PBNs pointing to my sites that are all privacy and I have no problems. But at the same time, it's something that could affect you later on, so just be careful with it. How can I increase my page authority besides PBN? Don't worry about page authority, just worry about optimization. And then the metrics of the links going to your sites. Don't worry about your actual site's metrics. All right, my agency site is ranking for city SEO on page 6. I've got 9 moderately powered PBN links and approximately 30 local citations. Keep adding more of both. It depends how long ago you did that, Thomas, how long ago you did the PBNs, and what you've already used for anchor text. Because, you could just be needing longer for the links to kick in. You could be over-optimized. I would need to know like the anchor text and all that you used. Do you use the Google Keyword Planner, and if so, how is the best way to get recommendations? And also, I use a domain name recommendation and a mixture of names to come up with a domain name. Maybe that could be a good way to come up with novel keywords. I mean, I just start with stuff that I would search for, that I would, if I was trying to buy the product or whatever I was doing, or look for a service, throw them in, just kind of get other ideas from there. I mean, mine's pretty basic. We do have a keyword video in our members area from Alex Gold, Alex Gold you can watch. All right. To rank for My City SEO, is it better to fire links at the inner page with the keyword in the URL or the branded home page? I mean, a mix of both could be good, Thomas. It depends on the size of the site and all that. For example, Cotton's site, is such a big site. He has a lot of links going to the homepage about SEO, and that makes his inner page rank so much easier. So it just depends on the situation, how big your site is and all that. Thanks, David. Can you give a few of your affiliate sites so I can see? I'll probably be doing some examples soon, Elizabeth, but right now I'm not showing any of them just because of keywords and stuff. A lot of the ones now, I don't want people stealing those keywords. But we will probably have affiliate examples coming soon. All right, what's the difference between dropped and expired domains? Which should we use for PBNs? I think it's just a word difference. I mean, dropped domains are pretty much, I think, are expired domains, unless I'm getting it wrong, but I don't really use the term drop, so I'm not sure. I use auction and expired. You know, auction domains are domains that keep their age. Expired domains are domains that go through auction, reset, and go back into the domain pool, which I'm guessing are what drop domains are. I'm guessing that's the same thing, but I've never really used that term, so. Or I was looking at the metrics of a site, and Moz found this multiple meta description tags found. What exactly does that mean, and is this beneficial or hurtful in any way? I don't know, Kyle. I've never seen that. You could Google it. So it looks like this explains it here. You can kind of like Google it and read this article. This is actually from Moz, which is where you're getting that. So looks like they talk about it here. But no, I've never seen that. How do you get the large video in the SERP? About the Philadelphia one. No, we figured that out before. I think it has something to do with having the phone number in links, maybe? I forget. I haven't had too many appear big like this, so I'm not quite sure, and I haven't seen it very often, but it might have something to do with like the phone number in links, or I forget. I'm not totally sure. I think we messed with it and someone figured it out, but I forget what they said did it. Is it okay to use Webmaster Tools and Google Analytics? Is that not a footprint or Google so they can see all your PBNs linked to your My Site? I mean, they can see them anyways, Mark. They know the links are there. That's how you move up in the rankings. So that for having Webmaster Tools for that and Google Analytics, it doesn't matter. I would just, you can use those tools. I would just only use one site per account. And then people get worried about, well, even if I have different accounts, can't they track someone someone from the same IP is just accessing different accounts? And so far, I don't see that because I've had sites in accounts. For example, I set up some to test, and each of them I had like 4 sites in there. I had like 4 sets of 4, so there was like 16 sites I had in Webmaster Tools, and there was 4 in each one. Well, the 2 of them, all the sites got penalized because of one penalized site, right? Whereas the other 2 did not get penalized at all because there was no penalized sites in those sets. Yet I was logging in and out of them with the same IP from the same computer, in those accounts. So right now, Google's not tracking by IP. Well, this happened a few months ago. So at least from a few months ago, they're not tracking by IP. Something I'm sure they could change again. So, I mean, that would be the risk to me is that something they could track where, you're logging into accounts from the same IP. Right now, they don't seem to be, because it didn't affect me, but I would say that's the risk is they eventually start tracking that. I don't think they will, if they haven't by now, but, anything's possible. I have a new website in the dating niche. Thinking of finishing my own product and referring affiliates in dating niche. How important is it to buy 5 PBNs for $135? Suggested link from Mike Long. How important? I mean, PBNs can be very strong, David. So that can be very important. When building out siloing on a site, is manually indexing all the freshly created pages in Webmaster Tools helpful or hurtful? I never really do it, Kyle. I kind of let Google find my site on its own, or when I start linking to it, they'll find it pretty easily. Usually, actually, I'm sorry, I let them find it on their own because I usually don't start linking to a site, at least with PBNs, until it's indexed. Other types of links I will do, like citations and stuff like that, but usually PBNs I don't do until I see the site's indexed. It's just been something I've done. Can you explain what a footprint is? Yeah, footprint is something that Google can use to figure out that you're doing something sketchy. So let's go to who is. Alright, yeah, so this is under my name still. So our old national SEO site, see when you do the who is information, it has, Greg Morrison for registered name, has my address. Well, let's say you do 3 PBNs. You have 3 PBNs, okay? PBN 1, PBN 2, PBN 3. And they're all linking to a money site, and you don't use who is privacy or fake names. Well, if all 3 of those PBNs linking to your money site have the same person's information, that's a footprint, because you're like using your own stuff to, you're doing obvious SEO. Like, they can see, well, 3 different sites are linking to this site, but they're all from the same person. That's a footprint. They don't want people doing that type of stuff. So, or if you have 3 different sites that are on the same IP, that's a footprint. I mean, anything where Google can figure out that you're kind of manipulating their search engines. And in this case, if you use 3 PBNs, linking to your money site, trying to power it up, but all 3 PBNs have the same information on them, that's a footprint. All right, say I have PBN 1 and PBN 2 on host X. Can I link PBN 1 to my money site 1 and PBN 2 to the social profile of my money site 1? I mean, you could, but I don't do that. I usually use 1 host per kind of money site set. Or, if I'm going to do that, I'll just link PBN 1 to my money site and my social. Like, I'll use the same PBN for that, usually. But I haven't done that too often, what you're saying, if at all. Does the latest Google announcement regarding HTTPS SSL certificate affect PBNs or just money sites? I would say that, yeah. If you put HTTPS on your PBNs, Paul, it probably will make them a little stronger, a little more trustworthy. So yeah. I mean, I would say it affects PBNs. I don't do it. I don't put, that on my PBNs, but you just gave me an idea of where maybe I can start playing around with that. So, yeah, I mean, I would say it does affect PBNs, and I can actually write that down to play with. So thanks for the idea. I'm always looking for stuff like that to test, so thank you, Paul. Can I embed a video I'm trying to rank and link to a website I'm trying to rank on the same PBN? Can I embed a video I'm trying to rank and link to a website? Yes, you can. How many PBNs on average would a local keyword with 400,000 index pages with broad match need? That's impossible to answer, unfortunately. Just depends on competition and all that. All right, if I have a Tumblr account with a page authority of 32 and linked to a page on my site, is this the same as having a PBN with a PA of 32? Also, how long before the PA on the page being linked to gets a PA boost? Don't worry about your metrics on your money sites. I never look at I have a lot of money sites, and I've never looked at the metrics on any. Well, I shouldn't say any. Maybe a few times I've looked at my bigger ones, but for the most part, I don't worry about my metrics. I worry about my optimization. I make sure I have healthy links going to them with the proper optimization. I don't worry about the metrics of my money site. So I wouldn't even worry about that. I missed your answer about content on pages from different suburbs. Did you say that you can have the same content on different pages and just change the name of the suburb? Yes, supposedly, Suzanne, you can still do that. I mean, I think Cotton still does it. You can check his site to make sure, or you can ask him if he's still doing it. But, yeah, supposedly that still works right now. Who do you recommend to use to write content? It depends what you're doing. I use ineedarticles.com for PBN content. And then for my money site content, I use contentauthority.com. And then I have someone kind of review the article and kind of fix it up, like a partner. So I bought my first 4 PBNs, and before I bought them, I checked them for spam links and made sure they were indexed. I also did the site, pbnsite.com, check in Google. I now have my PBN, and all of them come up in Google when I do site pbn.com, and when I do pbnsite.com in Google, but not when I do pbnsite space com. Does this mean that all my PBNs have a penalty? No. It could mean that you haven't had them up long enough. Make sure they have content on them. It could also mean that they're just not that strong. See my stuff on penalty checks where you can also add in the title. For example, Is it Firefox? Yeah, so this is my site here, right? So you see it shows up first for this version, but when I delete the period, it doesn't show up first. Well, that's not necessarily because it's penalized, it's because there's a lot of competition. So it could not be showing first because there's a lot of competition, or because it's just not that strong. Maybe it's an expired domain, it's not as strong. You'll see that it appears on page 2. And that's the reason I add in weird titles. You see that it's number 19, but you'll see my title, The Lowdown on Firefox, which is kind of weird, right? The reason I do that, because then you can also throw in part of your title with this, and then bam, look what appears number 1, my site. And so it passes the penalty check. And what that does is it really cuts down the competition. We went from 38 million to 11,000. If this site has spam penalty, it wouldn't even appear number 1 for this. Okay, it wouldn't be on the first 3 pages for this, at least. So that's how you can mix in like a weird title, and how it'll help you do a further penalty check. Can you specifically do an audit on a subdomain for a client without auditing the main root domain? I don't know, Kyle. I haven't messed with subdomains too much. I would probably look at both. I haven't messed with subdomains too much, so I'm not sure. But if it were me, nor client, I'd probably look at both of them and just kind of see what's going on and kind of make my best judgment call. See, I would say that you probably want to look at both. I would start with the subdomain, just kind of check optimization, but then I would, if I didn't find anything there, maybe I'd go to the root, see maybe is it penalized, see, what's going on there. But I haven't messed with subdomains a whole ton. Why can't I see my account, my social account, and Web 2.0 property links in Open Site Explorer? Because they don't index very well. They don't pick up many links. I wouldn't worry about that. When ranking videos with PBNs, do you just link directly to the video, or do you first embed the video in Web 2.0s and then link to Web 2.0s, or you do social bookmarking, etc., and link to that? I do a mix of everything, Steve. I'll start with PBNs to the site and embed it in embeds, and kind of take it from there. How do you get a site indexed? Usually Google will index it on their own, David, but once you start sending links, it helps with indexing. All right, I have a site that I've been working on, whalewatchalaska.com. I have a redirect and marketed for the keyword Whale Watch and Whale Watch. This redirects to whalewatchalaska.com. All I was after was having the keyword Jano in the URL before I joined OMG. Your thoughts on redirect, and do you think I should get rid of it or leave it now? I would say it depends on what's on that redirected thing you're doing. I would have to see that to kind of give you a better answer. Redirects can be tricky, so it's tough to say. Redirects can be very tricky. I would need to know what was going on before the redirect, what did the redirect do, what changed once you did the redirect, what links are going to the site that you're redirecting, stuff like that. So do you not put your PBNs under your real name? No, do not. What social sites do you use? I use a lot of them. The main ones are Facebook, Twitter, Delicious, any really popular social sites. I use a lot of them. All right. Anything about spamming on Amazon URL for your product hard? All the Amazon stuff seemed pretty mellow spammy. What about your hardcore spam, like ranking a YouTube video? I don't use spam a whole ton, Corey, but I do see listings that are using spam that are still ranking. So, If I use the same registrar on all my PBNs, is that a footprint? Yes, it could be, Aaron. Remember, Google's probability based, so if you're using a registrar that is smaller than and you're using all the same registrars on all your PBNs, you have a high chance of being called. So, for example, you got like places like Big Rock, okay? Now, Big Rock is, I won't say they're small, but they're smaller. So if you have 5 PBNs from Big Rock all pointing to a money site, and they're all pointing to a money site, that's probably going to get you penalized, I'm guessing, because Big Rock's a lot smaller than some of the big ones. Whereas if you had 5 PBNs on GoDaddy pointing to a money site, you're going to be fine doing that because GoDaddy's so big. The probability of this happening is a lot higher than this right here. So, and I actually have sites like this where I'm totally fine. The same thing with Enom and Namecheap. You'd be fine doing this because I do it. Although, even though you are fine doing that, I still try to mix it in. I mean, most of my sites are on GoDaddy and Enom. So, if I have like 3 coming from Enom, I'll try to mix in one from GoDaddy just to kind of mix it up. But, stuff like this, you'd be safe because GoDaddy and Enom are so big, and Namecheap. There's so many people that host there that you're going to be okay doing that. But to be safe, I try to mix it up. Is authority the same as metrics? I would say metrics is authority. I mean, what your metrics are is kind of, what your authority is. Somewhat. I mean, metrics build up to be what your authority is, I would say, I guess. I'm not sure how you put that, but I wouldn't worry about that. What are the best practices to boost SEO PBNs? I don't boost my PBNs usually. I just get more PBNs. Sorry, I missed the writing content for PBNs and money sites. All right, so for PBNs, I use ineedarticles.com. For money sites, I use contentauthority.com. I usually have someone go over the articles and kind of fix them up, even for my money sites when I do that. So we actually hire people to write the articles, and then one of my partners will go over the article and kind of optimize it even better. I bought all my PBNs on GoDaddy under one name. How would I make sure there's no footprint? Should I move it to other registrars on another account under a different name in GoDaddy? You can just add privacy if you want to do that, or you can do fake who is information. See Stephen Floyd's information on doing fake names. I don't really do that too often. I've done it, but I usually just use private, by who is protection. How do you buy Social Explosion? I cannot find it on the site. I think it's wpsocialexplosion.com. Yeah, wpsocialexplosion.com. Do you still use PBNs with a general theme, such as a new blog, or you only recommend doing theme PBNs? Show me in your PBN link. I do both still, Steve, to be honest with you. Can you help me understand better why I would want to do a 301 redirect on a PBN? In your videos, you mentioned using Link Juice Keeper to do 301 redirects. 301 I wouldn't even mess with, Rebecca, if you don't know what that is, but for Link Juice Keeper, what it's doing is any site on, like for an age domain, right? So you have, say you have, Greg's diner.com, okay? And there's links going to here, you buy it at auction or it's an expired domain. There's also links going to like pages like this, right? Contact us. Then there's also links going to, our services, stuff like that. This is the old site that used to exist. When you rebuild the site, you usually just have your home page. So what you're doing is any links going here to pages that do not exist anymore, it's redirecting these to the home page, okay? So again, if you buy this site and there was links going here to the home page, there was links going to this contact us page, and there was links going to our services page, When you rebuild the home page, all the links go on here, since these pages are no longer here, aren't really doing anything for you. So Link Juice Keeper is saying any page that no longer exists, redirect those to the home page. So all links go on here, send here. All links go on here, send here. Send here. Alright? So Link Juice Keeper just takes any links going to non-existing pages and redirects them to the home page to kind of save those links. In the Iowa OTS, you powered up the website by linking PBNs for citations like Yelp and Man pages. How does this work? I thought the links on these pages are no filler, not to mention we don't get to choose anchor text on these pages. How does it work? You're building up your trust. And we kind of talked about that earlier. Can I use foreign-expired domains for PBNs? Yes, you can, but I usually don't, Aaron. Do you have to register your PBNs under the same country you live in? I guess if Google is not checking IPs, it should be fine. No, you don't have to, David. I've been trying to rank a couple of videos. I'm trying to embedding the video in Web 2.0 and then linking them to Web 2.0 from high DA links from Fiverr. I've checked the links and they do have high DA, but mostly are only a PA1. Haven't noticed much movement yet since 1 month. Will enough of these kind of links be able to push the video in time, or do they also need to have PA? It could push them, Steve, but it's going to take longer than a month now. Things are pretty slow moving, so if it works, it'll take longer than a month, I would say. If you have one hosting with 5 PBNs pointing to 5 different money sites and another hosting account with 5 PBNs pointing to those 5 same money sites, is that a footprint? We covered this question earlier. It could be a footprint, but it's probably never going to affect you. I don't really worry about doing that. Now would I do it with like 20 PBNs? Probably not. I'm going to mix it up a little bit, throw other types of links in there, but even with like 20 PBNs, I would say they're not tracking that, chances are, but it could be a footprint. Could be. I'm linking my PBNs to my city's SEO Web 2.0s to rank them, but unlike Iowa City SEO, mine is branded, so I don't have the keyword in the title of the Yelp Facebook, only in the description. Will I still be able to rank them, or should I link directly to the money site? After a couple of PBNs, none of the 2.0s are in the top 100. Keyword in the title is definitely going to help you rank easier, but keyword in the description is fine, and you will be able to rank like that. Should you link directly to your money site if you're comfortable with it? If you know how to track footprints well, you can do that. But just know that linking directly to the money site can cause a penalty, obviously. There's a higher chance of a penalty. But if you know what you're doing, you can do it, and it will give you a bigger boost quicker. After a couple PBNs, none of the 2.0s are in the top 100. Again, SEO is pretty slow now. Just give it time. I don't know how long ago you did them, but it's going to take time. How do you keep from showing duplicate registrar info on your PBNs to hide the footprints? You use different registrars, if you need to. But again, if you're using GoDaddy, Enum, you generally don't have to worry about that unless you're doing tons of links. But I always try to mix it up no matter what. Is Link Juice Keeper really necessary? Isn't that just a 301 redirect 404 to there? If you're not using it, those links aren't really getting redirected, so you're kind of not using those links. You don't have to use it. If you want to kind of redirect links to non-existing pages and kind of get more link juice, then yeah, you'd want to use it. Can I safely change or remove links to anchor text that was initially put in the footer of a client site? You can safely remove them. As far as changing anchor text, I'd be very careful about that. I've had problems with that in the past and supposedly it's in the patent where changing anchor text is a spam signal. So if you're going to do it, I'd be very careful. I've had problems doing it, so I never change anchor text. At least for like outside pages. If it's on the same site, I don't worry about it as much, but how do I get more info about TrustJacker and how it works? Training. I haven't used TrustJacker in a while, Elizabeth, so I'm not sure. You could email omg@omgmachines.com, Mike, about that. I'm not sure if he's still using that at all or not. omg@omgmachines.com. How many money sites can I point to from a single PBN safely? I mean, you can do as many as you want if you don't have the footprints there, but just know that the more money sites you link to, the greater the risk. I mean, if something happens to that PBN, it could affect all those money sites you're linked to. So, I mean, I wouldn't say there's a limit. Just as long as there's no footprints and you're willing to take the risk, then I wouldn't necessarily say there's a limit. If the PBN metrics meet your criteria on the subdomain but not on the root domain, you still buy them. I mean, I always look at the root domain, Hebrar, so. Alright, wouldn't using Hide My WP on all your sites be a footprint? No, because it hides all your plugins. I mean, it's a plugin it's going to hide all your plugins, so. People can't see your plugins folder when you're using that. How are you able to mix up your registrars? If you're only using high-quality PBNs, you get all your PBNs at GoDaddy auctions. This means that you only have GoDaddy as a registrar. This is the problem I have right now. I am supposed to be getting weaker PBNs from a PBN selling service and register them with another registrar just to mix up registers. No, I use Enum a lot, Sebastian. If you I don't just do GoDaddy auctions. I also do Namejet auctions. What the hell is it called in there? I forget what they have it listed as. Let me log in to Register Compass. What the heck? Let's see. So I do GoDaddy, yeah, Namejet. Which you get a lot of domains from like Enum in here. So let's see if we got any final questions in here, and then we'll wrap this up. Alright, no more questions, so we're going to wrap this one up, guys. Happy New Year to you too, Susanna. So next webinar will actually be in 2016. Alright, I'll get this recording over to David Mills, and it should be up within a couple of days. And I hope you guys all have a Happy New Year. I will see you all next year. Have a good one, guys.